Okay, in this video we're going to take apart this Henry Hoover and we're going to see if we can bring it back from the dead. Now, the first thing we're going to do with this is to take the top off it. 4 screws hold this in place around the outside. Should allow us to remove the top cover. Next thing we're going to do is remove the power cable. Now, one of the weaknesses of the Henry Hoovers is that the power cable can fail, so I'm just going to unspool it while I can, and I'm just inspecting it for bits missing, chunks out of it. Needs a really good clean. Then let's lift that off and we can see the underneath of the power cable. Now, if we needed to put a new power cable on this, we would take these screws out. Now I'm actually going to remove this power cable because of how filthy this machine is. I want to give it a good clean. Okay, flip that back over and the handle comes off. To change the power cable on a Henry, you literally just disconnect it like that, and then you just put a new cable in. So now what you can see here is the rollers that the cable reel runs on, and they're actually, that one there is not rotating, and the slip rings that take the power from the power mains cable to the rest of the machine. Next up, 3 screws here. One, two, 3. Let's back the right way round. And that hopefully allow us into the rest of the machine. So we've got an insulator here that goes onto the bottom of there, and we've got our electric motor. So I'm just going to unplug the electric motor. Let's just pull the brush connector off as well. We should, if you want to do that. There we go. Put that out. That's the vacuum assembly, and that leaves us with the clips here that hold it locked closed. The base of the machine, which this one is filthy, and we have the underside of the slip rings there, the 2-speed switch which controls this little board here, the main switch here to turn the power on and off. So I'm going to just unplug that, unplug the incoming power here, take that lot off, and we'll give this all a really good clean. I'm a bit bewildered by this, why this wheel isn't working, so let's just lift that wheel out. It's just cruddied up. So we'll lift all the wheels out. So lift it up with a little screwdriver, grab it with a pair of pliers and give it a pull. So I'm going to take this lot now and I'm going to get it in the sink and give it a good clean, and I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to reuse the old cable because I'm more than happy with it. Now, one of the big mistakes that people make when they put the cable back into these is they don't put this back on. Then you end up having to disassemble it all. So before you put the cable back in, just feed that back through. Now, when we look here, we can see that this is marked L and N. Live and neutral, phase and neutral. An original Numatic cable has got collets on the end of it where they'll be squashed down. Now, if you're just replacing this with an off-the-shelf cable, you can solder it. You can put a bit of solder on there, or you can buy the crimps and do it yourself. Many, many options. Goes under the screw like that. A little bit of a fiddle. But what I will say about these things, okay, they're not the best vacuum cleaner in the world, but they're repairable. And you can buy replacement cable from this, as well as off the usual contenders like eBay and that lot. You can actually buy the cable from places such as RS and the like. And I think even Numatic will sell you one. So there's one of the other little keys of reassembling is there's an arrow there and an arrow there. You need to line them up when you put it back together. When you do so, when you line your arrows up, everything falls into place. So now I've lined my two arrows up there and there. When I turn this over, my screws will go in like that. Now, some people will say, oh yeah, wind the cable round and round and round. You don't want to do that because it'll twist the cable. How we're going to actually wind the cable in is by putting it on the machine and turning it by the handle. That ensures there's no twists. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to reassemble this assembly. I've dropped these little wheels back into here, but we need to put the motor unit in and the switch. So we've got this bundle of wires here. The switch clips back into there. That switch goes there. This little board here slides into here. And that leaves us with a selection of cables. Two whites, a brown and a blue. And I've got a photo. So this one here goes to the motor. This one here goes to the motor. The brown and the blue go off down here. Yeah, as you can pretty much see, they're sitting themselves down there without much in the way of encouragement. So we get the brown and the blue up into there, and just sort of clip them into the little cord guide there, like that, and tuck that out of the way. Then we've got two white wires here. That's going to go to the motor, to the two corners on the motor. So we've got one to go here and then one to go here, which is further round. And in the bottom of this is two plastic cups that the edges of the motor drop into, and it goes back into place like that so it doesn't turn. And that is the motor assembly reassembled. Apart from the fact I forgot to put that part in. So let's just lift that back out. We go that way, or then we go that way. Goes with the peg facing down into there like that, look. And then you can see where the back of the motor goes into these little recesses. There we go, into place. Next thing we need is this part here. Don't forget to put your clips back on, and we're going to line up this little recess here with the back of the switch as we push it together, because that holds the back of the switch, literally. Just throw the screw away. Screw number 2. Screw number 3. Okay, let's flip that back over. Check the power switch functions and the other switch. And the next part we're going to do is we're going to get the cable reel that we pre-assembled and drop that in place. The cord grip hangs out because that goes in the outer case. On the outer case goes the power switch. There's a tag there that goes underneath it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold that in the up position, guide this in, and when we get to this point, this piece of plastic here, the cord grip, goes in there. Just going to check that functions, flip it over and put the 4 screws in. The great thing with these Numatic hoovers is they're repairable, and I think they're still one of the few genuinely really repairable hoovers. You can buy a replacement motor for 30 quid, a new cable for 20 quid. It just makes them repairable. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not the best hoovers around. But there we go. That's Henry back together. Last thing to do is do a function test. Plugged it into the mains. Let's press the button. There we go. That's a Numatic hoover brought back to life. This is a HVR200-22, which is a 1200 watt. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps you repair your hoover. And if not, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.